Meditation, intimate experiences with the divine through contemplative practices. A common sentient series by Sacred Stories Publishing. The quieter you become, the more you're able to hear. Rumi. A time to choose. We find ourselves right now in the age of great transformation, one of the most consequential moments in human history. These are indeed the times that the great prophets and seers throughout the millennia have spoken about. Mankind has experienced and survived many eras of tremendous change, of course, yet with each turn of the spiral, the permutations become more amplified, as if there will be one final revolution of the cycle that turns it all around, so we can start anew once more. Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome to the next normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna. Yesterday on our program, there was a request to address how we navigate during financial struggles, but also during a divorce. And first and foremost, if you're not married, it might be an opportunity for you to have empathy on friends that might be married and going through a separation at this time. And if you're married and you feel a little stuck in the marriage and you're unsure what to do, and you also feel a kind of guilt when you think about departing in the marriage, maybe there might be something in today's discussion for you. If you happen to be thinking of getting married and then you fear this idea of divorce, maybe this show might be helpful. But for those of you who are in the crux of a possible separation from a partner or a person that you said, I do to, or you tied a string as a commitment to your bond for the rest of your life, then I'll do my best to see what my observation, what my thoughts are on this particular topic. But first and foremost, I think I want us to start from the level of just being a well-wisher. Whatever category, in whatever area you're in your life, this practice of being a well-wisher is essential. I wish myself well, my own well-being. I want to smile at myself, feel healthy about my life. Before you got into a marriage with anyone, you were single. You might have been living with your parents. You might have moved out of your parents' home, went off to college, got your own apartment, met someone. Or maybe your marriage was arranged. You have no idea who this person is, but you got to know them along the way. Put aside the word divorce, division. Put aside that for now. I want to invite you to pre-marriage. Just see if you can come back to the days of pre-marriage. Where were your thoughts? What were you thinking the most of? What was in your heart? Can you recall? Feel free to put it in the chat if you'd like to. And after that day, whether you got married in a church, in a temple, in a hall, whether it was a Hindu marriage, whether it was a Christian marriage, whether it was a Jewish marriage, whatever it is, whether you jumped the broom, The day after, do you remember the trance you were in? As if you had somehow soul-wise, karmically, psychically stepped into a whole different realm of existence. And for a week, you turn, you see the same person. For 6 months, it's the same person, every day the same person. For 2 years, you're trying to find your comfort in the relationship. Those of us who have been given the experience of an arranged marriage versus a marriage of someone that you've already known, have already experienced, it's different, but it's still something that comes over you. Like there's a psychic shift. And I'd like to give an example. A very dear friend of ours was diagnosed with the C cells cancer. And I remember telling her, look, it's going to feel like you are psychically carrying the burden, the survivors and those who didn't survive for the next 9 months to a year. You're going to feel as if psychically there's something over you when you deal with cancer. And for those of you out there, whoever dealt with that, you know what I'm talking about. It comes over you like this omen, this wave. And it makes you introspective, and it makes you a little bit like looking at your life and what you've done and how you've done. And that day after your marriage, there's something psychically that went over you. Something inside shifted. Especially for those who engaged in a marriage where it was an arranged marriage, that cultural, traditional way of marriage. And as you move along, whether you've known the person before or you got to know the person after 2-5 years, it doesn't even have to have been a bad marriage. Maybe your husband didn't abuse you. Maybe your wife wasn't a nagging wife or wasn't a lazy person. But what if you really checked yourself during the marriage? If you've ever had the thought, it's not for me. It's not setting right. But you accept it because now you've got 1 child or two children, maybe 3 or 4 along the way. You're settling because now this is what's important in front of me. These people, these things, I've given myself to this. And then there are these quiet moments internally where there's something inside of you is not settling right. But because of tradition, culture, what will people say? You struggle with trying to find your way in it. And it becomes very difficult for many. There are some who choose, after a while, it's in an early marriage. I've heard of people who are married for 2-3 months and just ended. There was a young girl, had one of the most spectacular marriages in California. Within 3 months, she filed for a divorce, and this was someone that she knew 7 years before she got married. And it was only after her marriage did she realize she could not stay with this man for the rest of her life, because even before the marriage he was abusive, and after the marriage he continued to remain abusive. This is somebody who knew someone before the marriage, and she filed for a divorce after 3 months, even though they dated and courted and lived together for 7 years before the marriage. Each story is so different. We're all souls. And the moment the soul leaves the soul world, God's womb, the soul world, God's womb, God's heart, you left the soul world as an independent. And when the soul entered a body, it found new parents. And there might be universal laws that exist that when my energy is in complete embodiment of truth and your energy is in complete embodiment of truth, there will be something that will be quite systematic and it will flow. Let's say if you take your birth at the beginning of time, I would call it the Golden Age. It's the teachings in Raj Yoga. And in the Golden Age, all the residents will have self-esteem. So there's no expectation on anyone. But the soul is such an incredible living energy as it continues to play roles in different bodies at different time. Energy starts to get used of the potential of the soul. And once the energy gets used, things change. Duality comes in. This search for freedom and individuality begins. We might look for our truth and our solutions and answers outside of us in another person. Still, as a young girl, we believe that having a union and a marriage and settling and having kids and a white picket fence and a puppy, you've arrived. But for individuals like me who have never had a child, never been married, what do I know about marriage? Well, I've heard enough stories, that's for sure. But I've been married and I've had children. The recording is in my soul. Maybe not in this lifetime. It's in the soul. So whether it's in this incarnation or some other birth in the past, breaking away from someone, sometimes it comes at different times that you're not expecting it to come. And maybe your search for yourself is a desire to focus on yourself and take care of yourself. But now that you've entered into this union, you're finding that you're having to take care of everyone else. The man has to feel a sense of security that he's providing well for the family. The woman has to feel a sense of security that she's doing a good job to taking care of the family. But the soul is on a journey, so we're not all in alignment anymore. So on one level, if you're from India, the tradition of an arranged marriage, you're growing in that, and after a while you feel, this is not for me. What do? What if you sit with your partner and you tell them, it's not for me, I don't know what, and they can't understand because they're not being in tune with their emotions and feelings. The case of this young woman married in a relationship with this man for 7 years, and finally they got married, and 3 months later she divorces him. It's a soul search. It's not about the marriage. It's not if the marriage is a success or a failure. We're not in that alignment like we were in the Golden Age anymore. We're all individual energies trying to find ourselves and to love ourselves and to serve ourselves and be the highest that we can be. Who in the world wants to marry somebody who is angry, arrogant, poor, poverty-stricken, negative, a murderer, killer? Who want? Nobody. When we choose to go into a union with another person, we choose it because we're hoping the energy will complement our growth. And growth isn't just having a child or 2 or 3. Growth is the character development, the peace, the happiness, the wisdom, the abundance that you develop as a soul. That is growth. But if within a union with someone you're not happy, then the soul will automatically, with that vibration, say, I need to go where happiness lives. Even though it's in you, sometimes we just don't have the capacity to do the interior work in the midst of chaos. Last week I was at Times Square. I led a global meditation in the middle of Times Square. And it was just in that area Baba and I created a vortex of peace while the chaos ensued around us. It is an art. It requires discipline, focus on yourself, love for yourself, commitment, consistency. It requires faith and trust. Open communication. I've also met couples who have been open and honest with each other. And they've said, it's time to go our separate ways. But they remain friends. And there have been relationships where maybe one of the spouse will realize the mistake that they've made, and they want to make amends because of the space between the two. But consider divorce to be time for you to focus on yourselves. Who am I? What am I here to do? What is mine to really do as a soul to evolve from this? I gave my life to someone. Who told you to? You did. And in giving my life to someone, I lost a lot of myself. No one to be blamed. But maybe it's somewhere, somehow, you started to realize, I'm not taking care of me. I'm losing myself here. It's difficult here. And something with those thought process, and maybe you tell your spouse, let's talk. Can we do something together? Can we please have more time together? Whatever it is, but it falls on deaf ear, then you feel so alone. Maybe it's time to focus on yourself. Sometimes we can't evolve in certain environments. If I plant a mango seed in Iceland, no offense to the country of Iceland, but if I plant a mango seed in Iceland, it's not going to grow. It won't. Unless I create special settings in a special greenhouse in a room that can assist that mango tree to grow. But if I plant the mango tree in India or Jamaica, man, I'll get me some sweet mangoes. The soil, everything is perfect. So sometimes in these relationships, you don't feel you're growing. You feel stifled, suppressed, compulsed to do something. And if you don't, and you feel lethargic, heavy, disconnected, a lack of love. And so sometimes people make a decision with good wishes, I tell you. You break away with the best wishes for that person. And no matter what happens between the both of you, your good wishes for that soul will be received somewhere, somehow, but it's time for you to focus on yourself. And you better believe they too are doing it, despite whatever hell they might be putting you through or thinking they might put you through legal issues and legal battles and the kids and stuff. Don't be attached to all of that. The drama is playing out. It's time to focus on yourself. It's just that it came at a time that you were in a particular situation that, gosh, timely. Couldn't you have found me self before I got married? No, you weren't ready. It found you then. Maybe you had to hit rock bottom. Maybe you had to give your energy to these souls for a particular amount of time. If you were detached and you were able to see your whole soul's journey, you will understand why the relationship between you and this person have reached its conclusion in this form. But the relationship with the soul will never end when you consider them to be a soul and God's child, and they too are trying to just find their way, even if they're not being nice. A divorce isn't the end of the world. It might be the beginning of both your worlds. Divorce could mean, finally, I get to understand who I am. I've lived with somebody to recognize who I am, and now that I'm free, I know what to leave and I know what to keep. And all the legal stuff you have to go through, don't take it personally. It's people that are just scared, trying to find their way. Keep sending good wishes to your spouses. Keep sending good wishes to the family. Don't let go of it. If you want to be able to survive a divorce, do not let go of your good wishes and pure feelings. It doesn't matter what they're doing. If you can't have good wishes and pure feelings, that's the why you're struggling. Practice it, I swear. You practice giving these good wishes and pure feelings to them, your spouse, everything will start to work out very easily because you'll be in the right. Why you're finding the space now is to get back to that place of truth that you are. So for all of you out there that might be going through a change, don't worry about society. Don't worry about traditions. Don't worry about finance. Worry about the focus on yourself and how to make yourself stronger with good wishes, pure feelings. Build your confidence, your self-esteem, your value now. Find a way to be open and communicate. Don't you dare let go of your good wishes and pure feelings for the self or for your spouse. This is a spiritual way of handling divorce. So let us just close our eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Breathe in again. Breathe out. And as you emerge yourself, and if you know somebody that's going through a shift in relationship and you're emerging them, I want you to imagine yourself surrounded by Baba's light. Like there's such a protective shield around you of goodness and purity and peace. From deep within your heart, wish them well. And tell them thanks. I wish you well. Maybe we're just moving out of each other's way to become our best version. So I'm just wishing you well, because I want to wish myself well too. Practice this every day, and everything will work out for you magically. Don't worry about how much time it'll take, or who has to surrender or be humble. You do it, and it will be magical. Breathe in, breathe out. Om Shanti. If we were to turn to AI Santosh Bhai and spiritually dealing with how to handle a divorce, what would it say? Dealing spiritually with a divorce can be deeply challenging, but it can also offer opportunities for growth, healing, and transformation. Acceptance and surrender. Acknowledge your emotions, but surrender to the process. Number 2, self-reflection and inner work. Look inward. Heal whatever old wounds you're carrying, but embrace the energy of forgiveness. Number 3, connect with your spirituality. Engage in spiritual practices. Seek spiritual guidance. Focus on self-compassion. Number 4, redefine relationships. Redefine your relationship with your ex-partner. Lean on community, individuals who can see you through. Number 5, very important, create a new vision for your future. Stop thinking about the past, what he or she did or could have done or didn't do, or regret or disappointment or guilt or shame. Waste of time. You're only creating that for your future. Instead, accept, it's time for me to focus on myself. There's a reason why I'm moving away. It's for everyone to grow. So create a new vision for your future. Visualize a new chapter. What does it look like? You can do it when you stop thinking about your past. Embrace change as a growth mechanism. Practice gratitude and release. Gratitude for lessons learned. Let go of the past. Number 7, embrace your own wholeness. Remember your inherent worth. Reclaim your power again through divorce. Okay? So continue to think of these things more and more, and they will help to liberate you. Now, let's have a few little love moments with our beautiful, the Sister Gita effect. You might enjoy our little tit for tat on one of our old shows on America Meditating. Here is Sister Gita.
Wow, I am prompted to say every little cell in my body is happy.
That's your favorite slogan. I mean,
That's my favorite song.
I go to all these places with you, and Sister Gita comes up in the crowd of thousands, and then she starts to sing, every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is good. Then, of course, Antonia, our producer, she's like ran out of the room, completely embarrassed, and I'm wondering, why are you embarrassed? There's nothing more beautiful than being yourself, you know? So we love you for that.
It's the heart of well-being, doing something spontaneous that to the world might seem silly, but it makes you happy. So that's the intent. I've taken from the heart of well-being 7 tools for surviving and thriving. Smile. When you're relaxing or you've woken up in the morning, imagine smiling into your body. Smile into your lungs. Smile into your heart and each organ, thanking them for doing such a great job. You can then smile into your bones, your muscles, your blood, and so on. Imagine each part of your body smiling back at you. What creativity, huh? Smile at yourself with your eyes closed. Imagine the smile lighting up your face and eyes. Then open your eyes and smile at yourself in the mirror. Smile at other people and notice their reaction. Then they nearly always smile back. Smiling, like laughter, is infectious and makes you and others feel good too. So smile, laugh, dance, all these are states to well-being, and then sing the song. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Om Shanti. Have a good day, smiling, and be the child that you were meant to be.
You all must have chuckled when you heard my back and forth with Sister Gita. What a beautiful spirit, huh? When I was 3 years old, she divorced my father. And I keep getting the stories in different ways. And then she met my stepfather, and they stayed together on their spiritual journey for a very long time. And so the point that I'm making, sometimes it's just the time. And it's only because all of our energy as a soul is not all in check. We're not in our complete self-esteem. And we end up with another person who isn't too. And it becomes challenging because neither one of us are really focusing on the self, on the soul, to really develop the best sense of ourselves. So be gentle on yourself, huh? Today's Avyak signal to transform old sanskars, personalities, and perform the dance of harmonizing your sanskars, getting along with everyone. interesting for the topic of divorce today. Nothing is difficult in your Brahmin or spiritual life, but your sanskars and your weaknesses appear to be difficult to you. For this, give yourself to God, the flame, to such an extent that when you say, my sanskar, my nature, even the consciousness of mind finishes and your nature is transformed. When your nature is changed, then you will develop an angelic feature, a feature that gives joy and peace. I love that, huh? So I hope I was able to answer your query of your request, and I really appreciate that. If there's anything you would like us at Next Normal to cover for you in our show, just put it in the chat or email us at meditationmuseum@gmail.com. So Hildy, thank you. Hildy, it was good to see you in New York, right? In New York at Times Square. It was a wonderful time. Shimali, many thanks and blessings for being Baba's instrument and the gift of the class on divorce. I will send it to my sister. Please do. This touched my heart so much, Lilawati. I hope your husband's doing much better. And Janapfi, this can be a sad and yet a loving time for a couple. You are quite correct about that. Appreciate the learning and growth you've experienced because you have known and loved one another. Jagruti, I felt like I came home to myself after my completion of my marriage. I like the way you've put that. My marriage is now complete, whether it was 3 months, 10 years, 30 years. It's a completion process. Wonderful. Thank you for these words about ending of relationships that are over. Sonia C. Hi, Lee, Anil Gupta, Darlene, Nasira, Gigi, Shobha, Kailash, Indu. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's a journey that we're all on, and it's no one's intention to hurt anyone. It's the vices that try to hurt each other. And when you recognize that it's the vice that's being very evil, you separate that from the person, and you'll always have an element of room to send your good wishes and pure feelings to the person, because that is still God's child. It's still God's child. Right? Just keep being a well-wisher, everyone. It will protect you. It'll protect your spirit. Challenges will come, but your soul will be protected when you become a well-wisher of others. As Sister Gita says, every little cell in my body is happy. Smile at your body, smile at your lungs, smile. Smile at the other person when it's time to just say goodbye for now. Thanks for everything. To break your attachment, keep practicing to love everybody the same. Your interpretation of life will become huge. Take care. I love you very, very much. Please be well. Please. Om Shanti.